The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audience.
The man has to have 100% of the vision, and the wife has to be 100% bought in. It's not 50-50, 80-20, it's 100-100.
Absolutely.
And the whole, wives submit to your husband, and they don't like that in the Bible and all that. Here's what they don't understand. Before you say, I do, you get to pick what vision you're going to submit to. So you got to hear that vision and make sure that's something I can 100% commit to. And when we're agreeing on the vision, there's not a conflict, there's not arguing, there's not fighting, and it doesn't matter who's paying the bills in this season of our marriage.
That's right. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I want to say
there's just as much fear of submitting to someone as being a leader. A part of us being in survival mode is that you can't show weakness. That's every animal. When every animal is in survival mode, you have to hide your weaknesses. It's about getting through the next moment. And what we've been through as Black people in this country, we still very much in survival mode. Absolutely. It's harder for you to think long term. So now I gotta leave my survival, not my love, not my happiness, not my survival, up to this individual, or I gotta lead another individual. And a lot of us haven't reached a place in our own relationship, like with self, to where we healed enough to realize, oh my God, that's good. I'm capable of this. This person does trust me. It's not about survival anymore. We passed that, we actually building something here. So I think we definitely, as Black people specifically, have to give ourselves grace. We have one of the most unhealthy relationships with leadership that you could point at.
Eastside Salute, another Thursday, another tantalizing Thursday. What's happening, everybody? I hope everybody coming in and getting tuned in, you know what I'm saying? Get your drinks up, get your weed roll up, and come on and get ready to have an Eastside tantalizing topic tonight, you know what I'm saying? I got my main man, Mr. Peen, YB, in his absence, but I got my main man, Mr. Peen, and I am your host, Mr. Drummond. What it do? Eastside Salute, coming live from Detroit and from the Lone Star State. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Peen.
He hit him with it. The Lone Star State.
Lone Star
What's
State.
happening, man? Checking in from the... Yeah, you know it. Checking in from the ATX by way of the 313.
Yeah, me.
How everybody doing? What's going on? Looking forward to it. It's been a good Thursday.
You know what I'm saying?
2.5 seconds. I'm gonna be right on this camera.
And I hope everybody had a beautiful week leading up
YB
to this Thursday. We got YB
here.
here checking in. He's in the building. Do y'all understand? Eastside Salute to you, sir. AM Gaming 16 is in the building. Eastside Salute to you, sir. You know what I'm saying? We in here. It's been another week.
What's happening? That's my buddy Austonian from work. Big shout out to my buddy Austonian.
It's YB, you in here with us?
I'm trying to see. That's why I'm moving around to make sure. Am I good? Am I good? Am I good?
Yeah, right now you is. You is right now.
All right, okay. Well, we gonna rock with it till it go out. Okay. Hey, check it out the Thursdays. What's good?
As you say, you 50-50, laugh out loud. So my main man YB, it's been another Thursday. How was your week? How was your week before we get into things? You know, how you living? How everything going? Uh-oh.
It's been good. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Y'all hear me?
So right now.
I like you. The way you looking pretty good. I'm trying to get from this out I'm up, but I'm making it, y'all.
He making it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And to my main man over here, Mr. Payne, how your week from last Thursday to this Thursday? How things going with you? Can't hear you, baby. You muted. There
Things
we
are
go.
going great. There we go. Can you hear me? Testing,
Yes,
testing.
sir. There it is.
No, things are going good, man. No complaints. No complaints. I had the first couple of days off of work, and because I was out there playing airsoft with my son and everything, and my knees got the best of me. But you know, it was all good. I survived that. You know, got back to work. It's been all right. You know, making it through. Been finish up painting the room. So the week has been good. I don't really have no complaints. The week has been good, man. Me and my buddy at work, Austin, had a good conversation this morning, man. And you talking about, I know tonight we talking about submitting and we looking at it from a wife standpoint and things of that nature. Well, that's what I perceive. That's mostly where the conversation go.
Yeah.
When people talk about submitting, but I know we also talking about leadership. And so today I had an opportunity to submit to God, like for real. He gave me a word that I needed to get to my buddy Austonian. And I was sitting there talking to God, like, yep, we really gonna do this at work? I'm like, yeah, we gonna do this at work. I'm like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, we gonna do this at work. So I just said what I needed to say, and I didn't apologize for it. But there was a point in the conversation where he was like, man, I was wondering, like, what's going on today with Ethan? I'm like, nah, this is how I am. I'm always positive. I'm always upbeat. I'm always bringing it. But sometimes, you know, we get discouraged because we don't want to submit to that higher authority. We don't trust. That's what it is. We don't trust that they really got us like they say they got us. But anyhow, I had to submit to that word today and give a word. And then after I was done talking, a minute or two later, he came back and was like, man, the same thing the guy E.T. is saying in the message we was listening to, you just said to me, and I heard it yesterday. So it was just like all confirmation. And I didn't know, but I was willing to submit and get out of my comfort or what I thought the individual might think. And I just did what I was told to do. So
Right.
Sometimes when you submitting, it ain't always comfortable, but in the end, you'll see the power in it if you go through with it. So, man, my week has been great. How about you?
Indeed. Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna give love to my wife and give her some sugar right now. Tell her I love her, and she's my heart. I love her dearly, and we'll get into join the conversation through text. Also, 313-757-0164 if you wanna join the convo. You understand? You can text it, call. Come on, get down with us. Let's talk about it.
SG.
You know, it's the council. You know what I'm saying?
Come
That's
on,
how we get
SG.
down.
That's
You
how
feel
you
me?
doing it, huh? You always coming up with something new. Engineer extraordinaire.
And I want y'all
SG.
to make sure too that y'all telling people we only on YouTube and we on our website live. You know what I'm saying? And that's thecouncildetroit.com. That's the website. We live right now. All you got to do is go to it. You know, we live on YouTube. All you got to do is come to it. Like, share, and tell a friend. Share and tell a friend. Subscribe. Hit that button right there. Hit that button. You know what I'm saying? And y'all come on and get down with Mr. Peen and Mr. Drummond, East Side. You hear me? And, we got some birthday shout outs to give up. We would like to say a hearty happy birthday, or give an Eastside salute type of birthday to Alicia. We got Alicia Love, that is Love. You hear me? Then we got my main man Bone, his birthday coming up. And I got my main man, Rand. You hear me? His birthday coming up. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 babies' birthdays coming up. I got Anaya, Andreana. You know what I'm saying? Eastside salute to all these April birthdays. You know what I'm saying? Happy birthday to all y'all, man. All y'all birthdays be great. Eastside salute to great birthdays. And tonight's topic, and we got a doozy because this topic is from a viewer. You know, we didn't come up with this one tonight. This topic is from a viewer and a lady viewer. Why women don't submit to men? Question 1. And when did men lose the position of leadership? You hear me? And this is from a lady. She wants to know. This topic is submitted by Frankie Gwen. She wants to know what's going on, ladies. It's time to answer some lady questions. You know, me and Mr. Peen, we done our thing. We done sit back and research this thing, and we gonna come at you with the best of the knowledge that we can bring. Got me rhyming. You know what I'm saying? Got me rhyming now. You know, like I'm out here rapping it. You know, got me rapping. You know, me and Mr. Peen, we gonna talk about it. So we gonna get into it. And Mr. Peen, why women don't submit to men, and when did men lose the position of leadership, Mr. Payne?
Man, that's a y'all know I don't know a slow way to put this, and I don't know a short way to put this, but I'm gonna attempt to do my best. Do my best. I think it's a trust issue. As I was talking about when I was talking about my week and me submitting as a man of God, it's a trust thing. It's difficult to trust. It's difficult to submit to something or someone you don't trust. That's why they say dogs are loyal, I think. And I'm not comparing the dogs or men to dogs, but dogs are loyal because they trust you. They trust you for what's happening in that moment. Like, constantly raise your hand. When that hand comes up, it's going to be a beat. If you go grab your chain and you've been walking them all the time, they trust that you're going on the walk. So they trust you wholeheartedly in that moment of what's happening. They're not living in the past. And a lot of times, us as humans, we keep repeating the process, doing what we would call a mistake, but repeatedly breaking trust as men, right? So if you continue to break trust, and the woman that loves you, is going to be hard for her to give her all to you, because you got to rewind and we got to play back from when you first pursued that, when you first was attracted by that, when you first wanted to be a part of that. You pulled out all the strings and she's seen this is where I could put my heart at. I could trust that. But as you started to break that trust, she started to give less to you. So submitting is something hard to do, even if you marry. Right. Because then the better question, and I will leave you with this one, the better question is, I like to ask men this question in coaching. If you want her to submit to you, what do you want her to submit? And who are you submitting to?
Exactly.
Because as a man, if we don't have something greater than ourselves that we're submitting to, how can we expect anyone else to follow us? How can they really trust or respect our view? Because there's nothing bigger than you, outside of you, whatever you call that thing that you see is more powerful, that's leading you. Yeah, so my long short way to say it's difficult to submit to somebody if you don't trust them.
You gotta be able to you gotta be taking some instructions from somebody in order to be given some instructions, is basically, you know, what Mr. Payne is talking about. And there's only one person as a man you could be taking instructions from, because a man can't lead you nowhere. So there's only one man that can lead you anywhere. So if you ain't taking your instructions from the one man that can lead you anywhere, then you just started off wrong right there, you know. So submission starts with the man. You know, it's not really why women won't submit to men. It's more like, why won't men submit to Jesus? Why won't they get down on their knees and start submitting their faces to the pavement and understand the humility? You know what I'm saying? Because submission starts with us. We have to submit first, in order to get the women to submit to us and understand that submission is not us overpowering you and dominating you. Submission is when I need you, you there. You know, in a no matter what, I need you. You're by my side. You're my wife. You're my missus. Me and you are one. We the closest thing. You know, that's submission. When I need you, you there. Because when I need him, he there. So if he there for me, you know, well, I'm there for him because I got to go to him. So I'm there for him. You got to be there for me. You know, it's all in the divine order, you know, of submission. But women see submission as fear. Am I right, Mr. Payne? What do you think about that? They scared of submission. You muted, Mr. Payne.
I don't want to say that. Okay. Hopefully my internet is doing right by me.
You good.
Okay, cool.
You good.
I don't want to say they're afraid to. I just don't believe it's difficult. Again, I can only speak for. I got to speak for me, and I have to speak for my ethnicity, from the environment that I'm only speaking from where I came from right now. I'm only speaking from where I came from right now, and what we've been through is difficult to submit to somebody you don't trust, and the person that you don't trust has probably never seen anybody submit to anyone else other than themselves. Like most people is about doing what they want to do for themselves. Like your parents may have submitted for you back in the day, like they had to go work and do some things of that nature, and they reminded you of that constantly. You know what I'm saying? They may have done that, but now in relationships, most people are not doing that. We have this, you know, what about me mentality? What about me society? What can I get? What can I get? So it's difficult to trust that you can pour your all into everything and into some particular person or everyone and allow them to lead you that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and nowadays in 2023, when unfortunately, you could call it systemic, you could call it racially motivated, you could call it ethically motivated, you could call it however you want to look at it. You can say, okay, let me know if I need to switch to my phone. Yeah, I'm already prepared to go to the backup. Okay,
it's going in and out, but it's like it stopped at the right time.
Okay, cool. You give me a something to let me know.
Yeah, you good right now.
When I'm terrible. Okay, cool. But anyhow, going back to what I was attempting to say, it's really about trust. The whole way. It's difficult for me to give myself to you because I don't see that you trust in the God that you say you submit to. And how I know you don't trust the God you say you submit to because I listen to the words that you speak about you. I listen to the life that you visualize for you. Women are they're not scared of almost anything. What they're not willing to do is consistently pour into something that they feel like is running out at the bottom.
Right.
Like by nature, they want to help and they want to give, but they give to you what we give to them. If you submit to your higher power, if you just submit to you being a better version of you and not what you used to do, then they can believe in you and they're willing to submit to you. And it's difficult for men to lead that way because we didn't see a man submit and he didn't know how to lead. So therefore, it's difficult for us to lead too. And the hardest thing for a man to do is trust the God he cannot see nor touch. Because we was taught to do things by what we see, not what we really feel. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult. We can see our woman, we can see our mother, we can feel that love. We can feel it if it's a tear between a father and a son. So it's difficult to submit to an authority. And if you can't submit to a physical authority, my brother, my sister, it's going to be difficult for that man to submit to a spiritual authority. It takes practice, it takes patience, it takes a willingness, and it takes a desire to want to get better. Like leadership and submitting is so much more than just you do what I say, I do what you say. No. It's about sacrifice. It's about giving up when you don't want to give up.
Leave it.
It's about being able to surrender to something bigger than you, not just for you, but for the good of everyone else. It's about dying to yourself. Maybe I'm just talking to believer folk. Maybe I'm just talking to Christian folk. But this hood talk too. Because you submit your will when you want to go through, when you want to do what you want to do, when you want to go to that party, you submit into something, you giving in to something, you in to hear who's gonna be there, who's gonna be doing what. You submit something. So in order for I think a woman to really submit to a man got to submit to something bigger than him, and that's just what it is. It's gonna be difficult.
That's why I said it started at home. It starts in the very place that they always say that it starts. You know, if you see your parents, if your father and your mother don't have that, then how can you have that? Because it's really a taught trait. Because like over the years when my mother and my father was living, may they rest in peace, but they with me always. As much as my dad may have done a lot of things, you know, my dad was a drinker, you know, but he wasn't, you know, he didn't start out a drinker. My dad wouldn't drink nothing, you know what I'm saying? But even when he wasn't drinking and he was a sober man, and I saw him love my mother. Okay, he went to being a drunk man, but even as a drunk man, I saw my dad love my mother. Now, I ain't gonna say I seen the submission in the beginning, because it wasn't what my dad did. Was he hardened my mother? She was soft. She was a soft woman at first, and him doing what he did, not being a leader for real, he was just being a man, you know what I'm saying? And he hardened her, you know. But when he married her finally, I saw the submission in my mother, you know. So I have a taught trait. I know how to love a woman. I know what love is. I know what submission is. And it's not submission of her. It's submission to Jesus. You know, I talk to him. I get my instructions, and then I bring my instructions into the house. If she's listening to me, she know where I got my instructions from, because this is what I'm relaying to you. I'm relaying my instructions, and you should be now submitting to the fact that he's got his instructions, and now follow through. It's you helping me follow through. All I can do is walk us to the right path, but I need the assistance for you not to ever let me go left. Always pull me right. Just don't leave me on the left-hand side. Just pull me back. You my helpmate. It ain't just to cook my dinner. It's to keep me from going left, being a sinner. I don't know. Maybe, like I say, maybe I'm just talking to the believers and the Christian folks. I don't know. What about you, Mr. Bean? Text comment. What about a man who doesn't submit to a higher power? How do I submit to him? Text comment. What about a man who doesn't submit to a higher power? How do I submit to him? Well, if he doesn't submit to a higher power, because I know Mr. Peen, he finna go in on that right there. But if he doesn't admit to a higher power, I mean, that's kind of like a sign in itself. Because if he ain't submitting to a higher power, well, then where is he getting his instructions from? How is he leading? That's not a leader. He's leading you on his own intent. And if it's his intent, y'all could end up in a dangerous alley some motherfucking where, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Peen, you know, let him, what you think about that?
It's a lot. Man, you mentioned something earlier. You were talking about earlier, talking to your wife, and you know, it's not about the wife submitting, it's about you submitting to Jesus and you going to get your time in with God and then bringing it back into the household or whatnot. And so this morning, 4:00 in the morning, me and my wife sitting up in the bed, pillow talking about life and about God. And I'm like, you know, The thing about it is, with God, it's all about order. It's not, here's the thing. I'm male, you female. It's about order. And if we say we believe in this thing called God, this higher power, then we have to follow that order. And even if I don't do well at it as a man, as a leader, if I submit to him, he's going to show me how to do that. But as a woman, you have to trust the relationship that you have God personally, and make sure that you're speaking that man into existence that you want him to be, not who he is.
Exactly.
It's a two-way street. So as you're praying for God to give you peace, and what you going through because you don't see him on this vision train or on the playing game, then you have to submit to that will to something bigger than you. Because if you the helpmate, you're gonna help him get through. But here's the thing: you gotta know that that man is for you. Again, I said I don't know if I'm talking to believer folk. I don't want to label you and say you Christian or whatever. I just want to say believer. Like in God, that's the name I use. Yahweh Yeshua. You choose a power bigger than myself. If you talking about a husband, that's one thing. If you talking about a male, that's a different thing. And then you got to understand that this is somebody you's worth even submitting to. Because if you consider yourself to be a queen, we talking about real queendom. We not play. Real.
We talking about real
and
queendom.
Real
Eastside salute to real queendom. You hear me? Queendom.
And if he a real king, then y'all gonna have to honor and respect that thing. So it's going to be difficult to submit to somebody who didn't submit, that's bigger than himself, because he should be leading that to you. As Mr. Drummond said, he's going out to the street to get the food at home. You make it up nice and something to eat. That's what. Listen, it wasn't that. I feel like sometimes I learned. Oh, thank you. I learned, let me take ownership. I learned that in a predominantly African-American church that my wife is supposed to serve me as the husband. When I go to dinner, she served me. When I'm at the buffet, she served me. This is supposed to be her way of honoring me. Later in life, I learned that, okay, here we go. Here go one of my wands that's on my wall. Later, I learned that we got to submit to our wife too, as Christ submit church, right? It say, wives submit to your own husbands, as to the Lord. Husband is the head of his wife, as Christ is the head of the church. Boom, 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 boom. Let me keep going. Christ is the head of the church, his body, and is himself its savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husband. You your church, you the head of your body. You supposed to be submitting to your wife like she's God. That's your relationship. That's your baby. You God, she the church. You building that thing up, right? But it also says in here in 1 Peter, blew my mind. It's my first time seeing this. And let me get back to my point. I'm talking about the way I learned that wives supposed to submit to husband in the churches that I went to. I never seen this in 1 Peter 3:7. It says, likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. So listen, it's telling you, live in love with your wife in peace in the understanding way, so your prayers don't be hindered. What does that mean? So you should be submitted. You should be.
Oh, okay. Look, this is what we gonna do, Mr. Payne. Since your Wi-Fi scattering here and there, I'm gonna go through this song real quick, just so you can fix up, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because the Wi-Fi this topic just too motherfucking hot. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want us to talk about it, but we gonna run to this video real quick by my guy Maurice J. I Need You. You hear me? Right for the topic. As she does her thing.
Yeah. just ain't good enough. You can call me day and night, it just ain't good enough. No need to tweet me cause it ain't good enough. I need more love. Physical, well good is only temporary. I need the substance in you that's deeply buried. Let me help you with what I need in you. Don't get me wrong, at times you've held it down. You are my only love and that will never change, true. Baby, there is only one thing that I need from you. Here's one clue. I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you.
That's how it be when it comes to that submission. I'm trying to tell you, boy, you gotta need each other. For real, SG is in the building. Salute to SG stepping out tonight. What did he? You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
Yeah. So what's good, SG? What you got to say on this matter? You know what I'm saying? What's your intellect on it?
Well, I definitely had to step in for this topic. I do agree with you about order and submission, because I have to look at it from a biblical standpoint. I can't look at it just, from a non-religious point of view. if I was to look at it like that, and of course it becomes a different conversation. But to look at it from a biblical standpoint, there is an order that was put forth. So that has to be followed first, which then in turn makes submission easy. When you can, you guys played a video at the beginning that talks about the vision. And like I said, again, biblically speaking, if you're with someone, you do have to be 100% bought into their vision, because otherwise it's going to be hard for you to submit to them. If you guys are not on the same page, as the word says, unequally yoked, then it's going to be very, very hard for a woman to submit to a man that she feels cannot be a leader, and that's somebody that they're looking at biblically.
Oh yeah, facts. I can agree with that wholeheartedly. But it's just the fact that in instances, I feel as especially in marriages, no, the marriage is not designed like my man said in the beginning, in what you put up. Marriage is not designed to be 50-50. It's not. Like he said, it's 100%. I got to be 100% bought in, and you got to be 100% bought in to what I'm bought into. And that's where it lies, biblically, because there is somebody that stands above you. You have to humble yourself to then stand beneath the person that stands above you in rank. This is the captain. You are the lieutenant. You know what I'm saying? And then the wife is this, and the kids is this. It's ranking, and if you ain't willing to be in your ranking, just like a woman could be the breadwinner, like we were talking about, you know what I'm saying? The lady could be the breadwinner, and the husband could be at home. Okay, well, that doesn't mean that they switch places. I don't become third in line. No, I stay second. I stay the head up underneath the Lord. I stay in my place, regardless to whether you're making all the money or not. I never change my place just because you making the money and you feel like you supposed to, well, I'm getting it. No, I don't supposed to be behind you. You're not leading me. Because in the garden, what did God really say to Eve? He told her a few things, but what did he really tell her? What did he really say to her? What commands did he give her? I ain't read nothing from the comments yet. Go back. I seen a couple. You know what I'm saying? Let me get them in. Charisma Robinson said, some women no longer find value in that type of partnership. Oh my, Eastside salute to intelligence. That's a fact. It's a new day and time. Women stopped submitting when Ike got beat up in the limo. Well, damn. Salute to Ike getting his ass whooped, because he got his ass whooped in the back of that limo, I'm here to tell you. And this topic was submitted by Frankie Gwen, and she was a lady. A lady submitted this topic. Oh, every third Thursday, we're gonna have a viewer's choice topic. We're gonna pick a topic from a viewer. We're gonna bring it to the show every third Thursday. So now that y'all know that, who has something to say next? Come on with it.
Well, I do. Kind of piggybacking off of Charisma's comment, because that's the thing that we have to take into consideration too. Being that it's a new day and time, that everybody's relationship is going to be different. Everybody's going to not see things on the same perspective because of the fact that they are looking at it differently. And to say there's nothing wrong with that, you have to be comfortable in your own household with what you got going on. if you are the breadwinner as a woman and you're okay with that, and you're okay with your husband or your man staying at home, that's y'all thing. Y'all talked about it, y'all worked it out. That's between y'all. Then that's cool, And again, like you said, you can't. I think Mr. Payne was saying it earlier. We don't want to group anybody into these certain categories, because I'm going to look at it from a biblical standpoint always, but everybody isn't going to look at it that way. And so now a lot of people are molding themselves after what they see on social media, what they see, these quote unquote couples goals and all of that, and so, but that's okay for them. That don't work for me, but that's okay for them. And so we kind of got to look at it like that.
Mr. Payne.
Hey, that was well put, SG. That really was. It's definitely a different time in a different era. And when I speak for it, for me, I speak for my belief, my opinion, like we was talking about last week, but the things that I've also counseled my way through. And like I said, maybe earlier, I'm only talking to believers. And when I say believers, I'm not just saying believers in a spiritual power bigger than yourself. I don't really like to get in religion because it's deeper than that. But if you follow that path, it has to be some type of order. And there is nothing at all wrong what I believe is gender roles that's just thrown out the window. Like, since me and my wife has been together, I've been the one to mainly cook. I enjoy cooking. I come from four. She comes from just her and her brother and sister. I was the youngest. She was the oldest. Like, I enjoy cooking, and I knew that going in. I knew that my wife was more skilled at the finances, and to be completely transparent, it was a little difficult to get on the financial track at some points in time in life because I just wanted to be the man and lead it because I was the man. But I wasn't leading it the right way. And my better half, who had to strengthen that area, I didn't want to allow that because maybe I thought it made me soft, or I wasn't taught how to submit to not just an order, but something that's going to be for the betterment of the team. And that's what makes it really difficult when you talking about today's age versus maybe me talking about my time. Are the individuals on the same team? And since you can't really put it in a time essence, because our grandparents and parents can look at it as so different for us, that's why you have to put it in a order that doesn't change for me. And most of us is that, basic instructions before leaving Earth. That big book that we got is 66 of them. Well, it's more than that, but they took some out, but it's 66 that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, following that order, and that's what, that's the beginning of your submission, because you're submitting to follow God's order. When you call yourself a Christian, that's what you tagging yourself to. I'm going to keep it a buck. If you don't, like that's what you tagging yourself to. You obey by the Bible and his word. You can say what you want to say. You take that part out. You hear how you want to hear it. But that's what you abiding by when you start to take that tagline. Yes, it's just like if you say you're the Islamic faith, you abide by the Quran. Whatever you choose, Church of Scientology, you're abiding by some bigger guidelines or principles or rules. So for me, when it comes to whether, my wife should submit to me or not, it was a gut-wrenching question, but I had to often ask myself, who am I submitting to? And if I'm submitting to God and God telling me my wife is better with the money, then I'm just letting my ego get in the way and I'm setting us back. Not only am I not submitting to my wife, I'm not submitting what God tells me to do, because I read the scripture. It said if you're doing the wrong thing and you're not living with her with love and that peace, then you hindering your own prayer. So you can't pray you want to get better and you not loving her right. You not submitting to what he asking you to do. Like, help me help you, as my wife would say. Right? So if as men, if we want to submit, we got to start submitting more to God, and we got to start submitting more to submit to his word first. Like, submit to his word first. No matter what goes on, submit to his word and submit to the vision that you have. And once that she see you committed to that, it'll be that much easier for her to commit to you, because the Bible also says he submits to her husband, not her male counterpart.
Right.
It's a big difference in the two.
I was gonna bring that up yesterday.
It's a difference in the two. So you got to know what you're submitting to. And again, I want to be specific when I definitely say a lot of what I'm talking about tonight is for individuals who consider themselves to be believers. If you don't believe in nothing bigger than you and you just out there doing what you want to do, you living your best life, then live your life. Submit to you. Because there's something inside of you that's telling you to do that, good, bad, or indifferent. You do you. But when you talking about leadership between a husband and a wife, it has to be some order in there. And that's why when we were talking earlier about the man going out and getting in the counsel of other men and studying and praying and getting that word from God. So when he comes back into the house, he can bring it into the house. And a lot of times the woman wasn't, I believe the way I perceived it, wasn't going to get it herself, because it wasn't her responsibility to, and God didn't want to cause that conflict. He didn't want her to see her husband in a lesser position than the God that he is.
You answered my question. I just want you to know.
Okay.
I asked, what did he really say to Eve? What instructions did he really give her?
He didn't give Eve no instructions. He gave Adam the instructions.
Oh, see. That's all. That's all I wanted to get straight. That's all. What you said. That's why I asked that question. What you said right there. She had no real responsibility in the first place. It was all on him in the first place.
Here's my thinking on that thing. God told him what to do, and he was supposed to lead and guide his wife. I think this is just me and Mr. Peen's thinking. If Adam would have did what God told him to do.
Hold that. I wrote down right here for the question, when did men lose position of leadership? And I'm gonna let you go. But I just don't want to lose it because I got it right here.
Now that you said that, you're gonna make me tie it all into what I'm talking about with Adam, because we lost rule and dominion and power when we missed that apple that we weren't supposed to fight.
Look, I put when Adam didn't lead Eve. Just that simple.
Facts. Because again, I think when she came with the apple, if Adam would have slapped that apple out of her hand and went and did what we call the equivalent of snitching right now, if she would already ate the apple, then God probably would have replaced Eve. But Adam instantly blamed Eve for what he didn't lead her to do. And that's when we fell from grace right there. Yeah. So ever since then, it's like, well, you want me to submit to you, but you don't even submit to something bigger than you, bro. You ate the apple. You don't even see your vision through, is what she's saying. I can't trust that you're going to put your vision first, so how you want me to follow you? And here's the kicker. I used to say the same thing, but my wife, as God uses them so eloquently do, reminded me that Jesus was Adam part 2. God had to step down and said, I'm going to show you. So now you got a whole new man in your view who went, stretched it out, died for you and said, look, you can do things greater than I do. So if he's saying all that to you, then you can submit and know that that word is true. That's why it's called the New Testament, because every day you wake up, you're a new you. But you keep seeing yourself in the same view, so it's difficult. We won't even submit to the new thing that he's calling us to, because we so stuck on the old you or what you used to do. That goes for our relationship too. You ain't ever seen your mother submit. You ain't seen your father submit to a spiritual man or a man that, bigger than him to learn from. So it's difficult for us to do that thing. And again, for men, I think it's even harder when you can't touch God. You ain't seen it happen. So, yeah.
I'm going to just say this before, because I know you guys got to go to posting up with Mr. Payne. And since you guys took it to biblical, we went that way. The word simply tells us to submit one to another. And so always tend to leave that out, and it's always about women submitting. But the word is clear of what it tells us to do, which is submit one unto another. And so if you're my husband and I'm your wife, it's not just about me submitting to you, but not only do you have to submit to your higher power, you also have to submit yourself unto me. And the other part is that people get submission mixed up, the definition of submission, and that, I think that is the number one reason why it's so hard for women to submit, because they don't truly understand the true definition of what submission is.
Facts. And the scripture you just gave was Ephesians 5:21, and it was right up under the one I was reading, 1 Peter 3:7. But my internet started going blinkety boom, because I was sure gonna get to that. And please hope I understand this, and not to say that SG didn't, just to make it very clear. I want you to know that my entire conversation is about men submitting to a higher power, submitting to God, to learn how to submit to their wife. Because until those two things happen, your wife ain't never finna submit to you. Exactly. She gonna build some respect for you, but to submit to you to the understanding that you may believe is capable, that's gonna be difficult to get to. But that's gonna take some men really growing up and growing through what they need to grow through in order to get that. Because always know this: your wife is a representation of you. And I'm talking about her energy, not what you physically see.
Right.
So yeah, that submission thing is deep. And you gotta, as a man, in order to really be a leader, you gotta submit to something bigger than yourself. How can you lead if you've never humbled yourself enough to follow and to uplift?
That's the whole point. See, when Adam didn't humble himself just to be responsible, because as I said, she was really giving no orders for real. The curse didn't come down until he followed through with what was going on. It Absolutely. Was his responsibility to hold fast, no matter what she did. Because again, I say, no curse came down when she did what she did. It was when he joined that God was unpleased. He was unpleased with that, because once I walk in and I see you, he didn't go to her. He came to you. He called out to Adam. He didn't call out to Eve. He could have cared less about that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, come here. What's going on here? And you pointed right at her. And I'm gonna end that with it's time to post up with Mr. Payne. Eastside salute to posting up.
Ooh, we got some highlights in here.
When you need some inspiration, he's your guy, Pink Mr. P, and come on by.
Hey, what's going on, world? It's me again, Ethan Smith, aka Mr. P, with a little bit of motivation and inspiration for your situation. Hoping to free and relax your mind as if you are on a vacation. SG, I heard that music in the background. Thank you very much. You almost threw me off for a minute. You know what we about to do. We about to post up with Payne. That's why I get on here and I talk to you about some things that we've been through, we growing through, and get to a better version of you. That's what me and Tay used to do back in the day on the MW hallways. But what does the book have to say? You know where we coming from? Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. April the 6th, Love, the Great Equalizer. Isn't that funny? And we talking about submitting, not submission, submitting. Love, the Great Equalizer. There's more pleasure in loving than in being loved. There's more pleasure in loving than in being loved. If that ain't like a simple way of saying submit to one another, as SG said, like, nothing else needs to be said. I'm going to say this one last time. There's more pleasure in loving than being loved. Janae Motasami, Ash, photographer and wife of former tennis great Arthur Ashe. The real secret of success is love. We must love ourselves enough to know that we are worthy to succeed. You can gauge how well you're succeeding in this game called life by the number of loving relationships you have. Without this recognition of love, the idea of success rings hollow. True love comes to us every moment of each day, distinguished in many forms from every possible angle. It is up to us to accept this love into our hearts. There's nothing more important than love. It is humanity's greatest experience. Love is the one emotion that determines for each of us the space we will occupy in the hearts of our fellow men. It is the solid foundation upon which all of humanity is based. You are loved. In other words, you're not only your brother's keeper, you're your brother's brother. A man came up to two boys fighting in the park. He took one aside and began to spank him for his inappropriate behavior. An observing bystander came up to the man and asked indignantly why he didn't do anything to the other boy. The man responded that the child he was disciplining was his son, and he loved him dearly. He loved him enough to teach him lessons for the future. Real love is selfless and free from fear. It pours itself out upon the object of its affection without demanding any return, for love cannot be demanded, it must be given. Real love is selfless and free from fear. It pours itself out upon the object of its affection without demanding any return. For love cannot be demanded, it must be given.
Facts.
For the first time, I feel like I'm speechless after reading that. I mean, it's some of the simplest things that the book say that we hear. We've heard a multitude of days and a multitude of ways. Like, it's better to give than to receive. Love in the way you want to be loved. Submit unto him as you submit unto others. Like, even at work, my wife often says this scripture to me: do it as you doing it unto the Lord. Mm-hmm. Submit to your significant other as you're submitting unto the Lord, because you know it's bigger than you. People throw that word love around, but we don't truly know how to, because it's difficult to love others if you don't love you. Loving you begins with saying the things about you that you know are not true, to actually shape and mold you to see a different view of you. It's submitting to that thing that whispers to you about what you can do and what you visualize for you. It's about believing that no matter what you've been through, how ugly the relationship may have been for you, that this thing that you call love is going to help you get through. But you got to know, you got to be willing to allow others to love you. Don't block someone else's blessing to love you, because you're still hurt and ashamed of what you've been growing through. Okay. Allow yourself to give your version of love and allow someone else to give their version of love to you, because God uses people, and it's all a blessing that we get to do. So share the love. Don't let it stop you. SG.
Ooh. Another East Side Salute, another Thursday of posting up with Mr. Peen, dropping knowledge for real about this thing. Why won't women submit? And when did men lose their leadership? You know what I'm saying? For real.
I don't even know if we answered the question today. I'm so sorry.
It's a touchy thing, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to laugh when I say it. SG, why you be sounding so mad when you be talking? Man, you was on this motherfucker like you was mad as hell when you were saying what you was saying. You know what I'm saying? But East Side Salute to you, you know, spitting facts. But damn, you sounded angry. I thought you was preaching. Shit. But keep doing your thing.
Well, was you mad, SG? I want to know.
He said was not. Laugh out loud. Anyway, but you did. You sound like you was angry when you was talking. That's why I was just sitting back like, man, shit. Would I mess with that shit?
You know what? I think sometimes, it's just me. I don't want to speak for you. Let me speak for me. I get that same energy sometimes from my wife. I almost feel like I have to defend me, like she really attacking me, but she really not attacking me because I have to tell myself all the time, she ain't got no beef with me. This is what I asked for. I asked for God for a woman to help me stretch me. So she just doing what she called to do. And sometimes when they saying things, it's uncomfortable for me because I already know that thing to be true. And some of the words that she's saying, and I want to know if she's speaking directly to me. Like, is this a personal me and you babe moment? Or is this like for the general public? Because it could be going a little bit of either way. So that's be what I be going through. Anyhow, SG on the mic.
I was not mad or upset or angry. I was passionate. And I will steal the words of Mr. King.
Hey, I love that.
It'll blush you if you let it.
Eastside salute to SG in the building. I'm trying to tell you, man. Hey, it's always good to have a woman on the panel. So nice, man. You know, to get that. What was it? That, what was it called? SG. YB said you get the 3%. Yeah, it's always good to have that 3%. Eastside salute to SG's 3%. So I was trying to tell y'all, man. And
SG took the show.
Hey, for real, she brought it hard. I had to be quiet. I was like, damn, because she sounded angry. I was like, shit.
Hey, like I said, man, sometimes it could be a little bit of both. Women know how to kill you with kindness, man. That's why it's probably so difficult to submit to us. I've been killing you with kindness for so long. You asked me to roll over and play all the way dead like Fido. You got to get on track, brother.
So what I
was
was right before final thoughts, I was gonna say, see how you were saying that about your wife. See, it was different for me. See, I didn't meet her in the hallways and this and that. You know, my story is more. I met my wife in my dream, and I'm serious. I met her in my dreams, and her face was blotted out, you know what I'm saying? But I dreamt about her multiple times. Same dream, face blotted out. Same room, face blotted out. Same shirt, face blotted out. Same scenario happening in the background, her face is blotted out. And I left here when my mama died. I left here and I went to Fort Wayne. My dad died while I was down there, so I had to come back and bury him. So when I buried him, I left here for good. So down there is where I said, this is where my new journey began. Fam, I had said, I'm never getting married again. That was not a thought in my head. It wasn't a thought in my head. After that first one, I was like, oh no. This will never happen to Dre again, you know. No. But I learned when you say never, you cut the Lord out, and he don't like that. Don't say never to me, because I make sure that it happened just because you said that it would. But I get down there on my journey, and I walked, and I met her. I met my wife. I saw her, get the visual. Okay, I want her, I need her, this, that, blah, blah, whatever it takes. But months later, we sitting in the house, and she was standing right next to me. I'm sitting in a chair. She's standing right next to me, and I look over at her, and I see the black and white shirt. She had, in the dreams, it was a black and white striped shirt. She's standing there in the black and white striped shirt. The room is the room. And the scenario in the background is the same as the dream. Now, I understand I had this dream multiple times. It wasn't just once. Which, no disrespect, but it just lets me know that the first marriage was not my marriage. That was not my marriage. That one was wrong. And when I saw the black and white striped shirt and I looked up at her face, I said, damn, This is the face that matches this shirt, that goes with this room, that the scenario in the background didn't even matter no more. Because I told her that day, I came here to get you. She was the girl of my dreams. I had been dreaming about her, and I'm talking, I didn't even know her. I was living in Detroit. I was living with my mama when these dreams started. Do you hear me? So in that's why I love her, because she was for me. He showed me that. I believe that. And I just want her to understand that. So my love is different, you know. My love is so different, you know. Loving her is just like, wow, you know. Sometimes I look at her and I'm just fucking amazed. Like right now, I'm looking at you and I'm fucking amazed. You hear me? I love you. Final thoughts, Mr. Payne.
Man, I'm supposed to get some final thoughts after you just did all that, man. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Mr. Drummond. I'm gonna keep on with final thoughts, because if I respond to that, we on a whole nother show, and I know we gonna have to go. We need to make sure we keep that in mind, because that was yeah. Final thoughts. You see it. Every morning have one. Every morning have a funeral. Bury doubt, bury fear, bury anger, bury disbelief, bury unforgiveness. Bury doubt. My man said he wasn't never getting married again. Not after what happened. I doubt that's gonna happen. He said, I know you're never supposed to say never, but I was like, nope, never. I'm doubting that I'm gonna find a queen that deserves to carry my last name and help me get through this thing called life. He said, nope, I doubt it. But it came to a point where he said, nah, you know what? There's the woman of my dreams. I'm gonna stop doubting, I'm gonna see. So he had to bury that doubt. He had to bury that fear. Yep. You got to get rid of that too. You got to step there. You got to step out there on faith. You got to face everything that you fear and let yourself rise. Because look what this union has been able to do. They brought you to council. Me and you, we connected to you. So got to get that fear in the rear, right? You got to get rid of that unforgiveness. He said the first one wasn't the right one, but he ain't mean no disrespect. He wasn't trying to crack her neck or do anything like that. He just said he had to, he had to forgive her. He had to step back from that. He had to forgive himself. He had to grow, So you buried the doubt, you buried the fear, you buried the unforgiveness. You had some depressed days in there. Using the parent, going back and forth, but he kept believing, right? So in order to be believing, you got to be talking to God, of course, but he had to bury that depression too. And then what he had to do, I forgot to tell you, he had to choose life. And you have to do the same thing too. He's seen the black and white shirt. He's seen his wife. He told you, not one, not two, 3, 4. I don't know how many dreams the boy went through. The man went through, excuse me. I excuse you too.
Oh, that was the boy.
I don't know how many dreams the man went through. But when he got to the reality of the dream, he knew exactly what he was supposed to. I buried those things. I had a funeral. I put them behind me too. I chose life and I got my wife, who I now call my boo. And because I stepped up and I buried the things and I had the funeral, me and my boo is casting my vision to you. Man. So now we can be successful when we submit to one another, because that's what real couples do. It's only for those believers. If you ain't a believer, this message may not be for you, but you got to believe it's something bigger than you, and you got to have a funeral and choose the life that he had for you. I'm through. Thank you, Jesus.
Thoughts. And thank you, Jesus, for shizzle. SG, would you like any final thoughts? Would you like to have something to say on these final thoughts? You was on show tonight, No, she says no. So, quickly too. It was like, snap, no. See, and the no just looked like she angry, like, no. But she said, be blessed. Laugh out loud. He said, blessed. Yeah. But my final thought is just going to be this. SG said, love one another, submit to one another. Mr. Payne said, love one another, submit to one another. Mr. Drummond gonna say, love one another, submit to one another. And in that, it should be love. In that, it should be love. Smoke responsibly, drink responsibly, and pay attention to your children. Submit to that.
Pay attention to your kids.
Eastside salute.
Y'all have a blessed and wonderful night.
I'm trying to tell you.
Shout out to YB. I know it'll be like with the wifey, you got to get you a backup spot. YB.
She say, YB said it's all Ike fault. You hear what I'm saying? And don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for Friday night.
The council.
The council, 9:30 to 10:30. You know what I'm saying? Tune in, catch them tomorrow. And SG to SG, one of the baddest engineers to do this podcast in shit. Eastside salute to you, because without you.
There it is again. SG, I want to say thank you very much for all that you do and making sure we stay on track and helping us get through, allow me to do what I do, and the wonderful graphics that you do and keeping up with the chat. I just want to say thank you, SG. I appreciate that.
For real.
It's and this is what it looks like, I guess, when you really doing the podcast and doing the show. Because when I bring mine back, it's gonna be good to go. Because I seen how it goes with a real engineer is doing it. So me and my wife is definitely learning a lot from y'all. So we appreciate that. You, SG, salute to you. Thank you for your input today too.
She said, thank you guys. Eastside salute. She said, thank you. Final thought. Hey, we love y'all for chatting, you know what I'm saying? All those who made it in and all those who going to give it a spin on the replay, you know what I'm saying? And remember, councildetroit.com and YouTube. That's what we're going to be at. You know what I'm saying? So watch the council tomorrow night, 9:30. We love y'all. Eastside salute from Detroit and the Lone Star State. You hear me?
ATX.
And Thursdays. Holla at us. Talk
Y'all
to
have a good night.
SG.
As happy as can be, fill my heart with joy, take me to ecstasy. I know I can't foresee the future God's plan for me, but while he's by my side.